I'm just going to say this post doesn't define me as a person. I love my husband, but I have needs, some that he doesn't fulfill. I'm not proud, but I have cheated on him in the past. This time, he found out. I have a coworker, 20s, M, who I've gotten close to a few months ago, mostly after me and my husband, 21F/37M, got into a bad argument. One night after an argument left the house and called my coworker crying, he comforted me and we met up and I ended up sleeping with him. After that, I avoid that coworker because I felt way too guilty. Until more arguments with my husband happened, and then sometimes I'd call my coworker and he'd comfort me in a way. I didn't think I'd get caught until my coworker's girlfriend, I didn't know he was in a relationship, got my husband's social media username somehow, and told him I was cheating on him. So last night when I came home from work, he told me to sit down, and then he said he knew about my affair. He asked if it was only the one coworker. I knew he had the right to know, so I told him about all the people I had relationships with during our relationship. He told me I needed to leave because he didn't want to see me for a while, and now he wants a paternity test as soon as possible. I asked if there's a possibility we could stay together, yet I got no answer. I feel bad. My husband has been nothing but wonderful to me. But I needed more. To be honest, I want to be with him, but I don't think I can be in a monogamous marriage. I don't know if he'll forgive me though, and I'm sure his parents and his kids will convince him to divorce me. I'm really sorry to hear about the difficult situation you are going through. It's clear that you're in a complex and emotional place right now. While I can't make decisions for you or your husband, I can offer some advice on how to approach this situation. 1. Prioritize your husband's healing. Above all, prioritize your husband's emotional well-being during this challenging time. Understand that he is going through a tremendous amount of pain and betrayal. Give him the space he needs to heal and come to terms with what has happened. Be patient and allow him to set the pace for how he wants to move forward. 2. Encourage professional help. Suggest that your husband seeks professional counseling or therapy to support his healing process. Professional guidance can provide him with the tools to navigate his emotions, process the betrayal, and make informed decisions about the future of your relationship. 3. Demonstrate genuine remorse. Show your husband genuine remorse for your actions. Express your regret and acknowledge the hurt you've caused. Understand that your actions have deeply wounded him, and your commitment to his healing is essential for any potential reconciliation. 4. Respect his choices. Understand that your husband's healing may involve a variety of emotions and decisions. He may choose to forgive and work on the relationship, or he may decide that separation or divorce is the best course of action. Respect his choices and decisions, even if they are difficult to accept, as they are part of his healing journey. Remember that healing takes time, and it is a process that your husband must navigate at his own pace. Your role in this process is to support him in his healing journey, whether it leads to reconciliation or separation, by showing empathy, remorse, and respect for his needs and decisions. You asked for it. Karma delivered. I didn't know this would happen. What? You thought he would never find out, or even if he did, he will just forgive you and move on? You knew what you did was wrong. Now you have to live with the consequences. I understand if he doesn't want to forgive me. I'm just hoping he'd give our marriage another try. Why would he stay married to you? You cheated and lied and only came clean because you got caught. The best thing you could do is leave him alone so he can find someone who really loves him and care about him. I do love and care about him. Yeah, we can tell you love him so much that you were ducking other people behind his back. Yeah, I think this does define you. You don't know me. We know enough. This doesn't define me as a person. This absolutely defines you as a person. You consistently betrayed your life partner, and you're not even sorry about it. Only sorry you were caught. Not actually sorry about doing it. I am sorry about everything. No, you are not. You are sorry that you were caught. No. I'd convince him to divorce you. You seem like you're kind of the worst. Good luck with whatever you get going on. Hope you get whatever it is you need. I regret it deeply. The only thing I want is my husband. The thing about loyalty is you can't convince a person with integrity and loyalty to deviate from what's right. You knew what you were doing. You betrayed your family, your children, the person you promised to love throughout everything. You will have to sleep in the bed you made. People can forgive. Karma does not. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have done it. I know I betrayed my husband, and I feel guilty. How could you not know this would happen? Did you expect it to remain secret? What's done in the dark is brought to light. Do you know how deep betrayal trauma can mess someone up? You just set that man and kids back on what marriage is and means: love, loyalty, family, respect. Getting into an argument and sleeping with someone else is a choice. Did your husband go sleep with others every time you got upset with him? Did he betray exclusivity in a marriage? People don't understand the depth of trauma this can do to people. Just because it was a mistake and you're feeling like it's forgivable, you may have destroyed that man's heart and outlook on everything, including his future relationships, after he gets to the point where he informs you he just can't live with you, knowing you let someone else in. It's a cold world. How could you not know this would happen? Did you expect it to remain secret? I knew I was going to stop seeing my coworker. I didn't think my husband would find out. I feel bad for the way I've acted. So you're only sorry you got caught then? No. 16 years ago, my husband and I were married with a 1-year-old little girl. We were high school sweethearts that went to different schools, met junior year, and made it work. Where we went to different school, I met John through my husband, but never met Sarah or Cindy. Still haven't met them in real life. One night, my daughter and I spent the night at my sister's house with her 2 kids because her husband was out of town for work and she was heavily pregnant and needed help the night he would be gone. That night, my husband's best friend, John, been friends since 2nd grade, came over to our house to hang out with him. Next day, my husband told me John's ex-girlfriend, Sarah, and her best friend, Cindy, came over to see John. John was already with a new GF, Sandy, and that while John slept with Sarah in our spare bedroom, Cindy had tried to sleep with my tipsy husband. He kicked them out at like 2 a.m. My husband turned Cindy down, but apparently she had always had a crush on my husband. For a year afterward, she would call his phone. Didn't know how she got his number. We changed his number twice. She kept getting it and calling, playing music, saying lewd things, even sending emails saying how our daughter needed to be put down so she didn't end up a teach like me. That they would jump me and bash my daughter's head in if they saw us out alone. Kept sending updates on where I went, asked how my doctor's app was, how store name was, creepy stalker stuff. For the longest time, I refused to leave the house without my husband because I was seriously concerned they would hurt my daughter. For a year, I felt trapped in my home. I vividly remember being 3 weeks postpartum after an emergency C-section with our 2nd child and just holding my baby and sliding down the wall to sit and cry. Because she had called again. It was 2 or 3 times a week she would call. She always blocked her number and sent the emails from an anonymous email address. For a while, I thought maybe my husband was talking to her. How else would she be getting his new numbers? I lost so much faith in him. I know he was mad about this situation and would scream into the phone to leave us alone. I saved every call log, email, and recorded what I could. I sent an email to her throwaway and said I knew who she was and that I was going to the police mistreatment. Spoiler alert, I already tried. But there wasn't enough evidence because she blocked her number and nothing traced back to her. However, we were 20, she was 19, and it scared her enough to leave us alone. 3 months of peace later, and his best friend John came over with Sandy for dinner. Sandy and I were friends and would talk about everything with those crazies, as we called them. She asked how everything with Cindy was going, and I asked her how she forgave John for sleeping with Sarah. She lost it because she didn't know. He lies, says he didn't, and that my husband got it wrong, that they were just talking, Sandy didn't believe him, and then John screamed at me, "This is why I kept giving Cindy his number. She would be a better match for him." My husband threw John out, and they yelled at each other outside for a while. Turns out John was upset my husband wasn't going out and partying with him. John thought it was me, not allowing my husband to go. But that wasn't true. My husband didn't want to go. He preferred to be home with me and our daughter. The few times he went out with John, I practically had to kick him out of the house to get him to go. John couldn't understand it was my husband who didn't want to go clubbing. My husband has never been a clubbing guy. He loathes people and loud music. He kicked John out of our lives that night, and husband hasn't spoken to him since. We changed his number one last time and never had any other issues. For her part, Cindy got some serious karma. I couldn't help but laugh when I learned she married a guy a year later, had a kid, and got cheated on, and then he left her for another woman while she was pregnant. I usually don't enjoy others' misfortunes. However, after the hell she put us, though, especially during my pregnancy with our 2nd child, I laughed when I heard. For John, he married Sandy, has 2 kids now, and tried to get back in contact with us 13 years ago after he had his first kid. He wanted to apologize because apparently after having his own kid, he realized how screwed up he was, doing what he did. He called my husband's parents because they still had a landline at the time. My in-laws had already been told years earlier what happened, and that under no circumstances were they to give out our numbers to him. So we went to my in-laws, and my husband called him back and told him to never contact our family again. Side note, when husband called John back, we found out Cindy wasn't following us like we thought. John would tell her where we were going. So screw you, John, you and that psycho Cindy. It's clear that you went through an extremely challenging and distressing situation with Cindy and John's actions. The mistreatment and threats you endured were unjust and deeply unsettling. It's perfectly normal to feel a mix of emotions, including anger and frustration, in response to their behavior. First and foremost, it's essential to acknowledge that you did your best to protect your family during this ordeal. You took steps to document the mistreatment, involve the authorities, and protect your husband and children. You were resilient in the face of adversity. While it's understandable that you might feel a sense of satisfaction hearing about Cindy's misfortune, it's important to remember that holding on to resentment or anger can be detrimental to your own well-being. As time has passed, you have moved forward, and it's a testament to your strength that you've managed to put this difficult chapter behind you. Your husband's decision to cut ties with John was a wise one, as it prioritized the well-being and stability of your family. Moving forward, continue to focus on building a healthy and positive life for you and your loved ones. It's evident that you've overcome a challenging situation with resilience and strength, and your ability to find humor, even in difficult circumstances, shows your capacity for healing and moving forward. I can't believe Sandy married him. She is very forgiving, definitely. No, she just believed him, that nothing happened between him and his ex that night. He convinced her it was a misunderstanding. Did she not hear him confess that he was feeding your information to a woman who threatened your child's life? That seems like something that would make you run. Sandy had already walked out of the house before he screamed that at me. I have no idea what she knew. You didn't tell afterwards? I called her the next day, other than a, "Hey, I didn't get to speak." She kept saying my husband was wrong, that John would never cheat on her, and refused to listen to anything I tried to say, and then hung up on me. I haven't spoken to her since. That was 15 years ago. Glad it worked out for you in the end. Sandy is the biggest ducking fool. Perpetual doormat. I'm afraid she's being mistreated. When we knew them, Sandy always wore the pants of the relationship. What she said went. But John was a master manipulator. But she always got her way, no matter what, from what we saw. John only had his grandmother, and Sandy had a huge family. They moved because her parents did so they would be close to them. So I don't think she mistreated. Her dad would have already unalived John if he had, and John's grandmother moved with them. Worldwide comments of the day. Story 1. So he gave you everything you wanted and more, but you still cheated on him? You're just a spoiled brat and you need to leave him alone. An affair is a choice, not a mistake. I really wish people would acknowledge the intent behind the action. OP cheated because she wanted to. She made the decision. Now she has to live with the consequences. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more interesting and relatable Reddit videos.